Hey guys, so have you ever been to a zoo or an aquarium? I know personally that I've been to tons and I don't even remember the exact number, but today I'll be telling you guys all about how zoos are beneficial and how that they do great things for the environment and for animals, especially exotic animals, the ones that are endangered. And today I'll be able to tell you all about that. Zoos have many conservation efforts that they go through. They offer breeding programs to the animals that are within their care, or they animals that aren't within their care. They do offer, you could say, like assistant programs for animals because they do try and reintroduce wild exotic animals into the wild that have since gone extinct. And many zoos across the U.S. will put in these efforts to conserve and protect exotic animals and plant life as well as many other efforts into the community. While some people lead to believe that zoos don't have beneficial qualities, because all they see is that, oh, there's an animal in this locked up, and they automatically think that they aren't cared for well enough, or they don't have a negative connotation, or they don't have a positive connotation with the zoo, so they automatically assume that it's negative. But people are severely mistaken about zoos, and they just don't have enough knowledge on what they do. The picture included in my slideshow is from Project Selva that's at the San Antonio Zoo. It's a project that they have there that the San Antonio Zoo's Department of Conservation and Research is working with indigenous communities in the upper Amazon basin of Peru to help provide a continuous revenue stream that does not include timber harvest or oil extraction, which is they're trying to go about it the humane way without destroying communities or without destroying habitats for animals or for people, like a lot of. And in the picture that you'll see there's a large fish. And on our next slide, we talk about the animal conservation efforts that the zoo does put forth towards to try and help and protect animals, exotic or domesticated. And one specifically is the Texas Horned Lizard Reintroduction Program. Most zoos are included in conservation efforts. These zoos are part of an organization called the AZA, which is the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. Most zoos in the U.S. are AZA accredited. They're held to a certain level or to a certain standard to make sure that they are up to date and that we aren't just barring up animals and just showing them to people for our pleasure. We are people here in the U.S. are doing things positively and trying to reintroduce these animals back into the wild and to save them and protect them. And the Association of Zoos and Aquarium leverages the wildlife expertise of its members to promote animal welfare, conservation efforts, and scientific education. So the project that will be pictured above in the slideshow, it shows you the Texas horned lizards, and they are another animal that the San Antonio Zoo has a project for to be able to preserve and protect them. And once abundant throughout Texas, the Texas horned lizard population has declined or disappeared altogether in many parts of the state, so much that it is now on the state's threatened species list. To preserve the abundance of the state reptile of Texas, the San Antonio Zoo has launched the Texas Horned Lizard Reintroduction Project, which is to breed them within the San Antonio Zoo and to hopefully be able to reintroduce these animals back into the wild so they do have an abundant number of their species out there and that they're not declining or on the verge of extinction. And for my next slide, which will be our reintroduction program, which is animals throughout AZA accredited institutions from aquariums all the way to zoos. Animals can be reintroduced back into the wild, and which will be available to the animals in their care if it is something that is within the zoos means. And that's just saying that they have to make sure that the animal is going to be able to be reintroduced back into the wild. Because there's some animals that don't pass tests like that. They have to go through a series of tests to see if they can be able to become dependent again once reintroduced back into the wild, and that they're not going to be more dependent upon people, which could potentially end up in getting them killed if they are. So The animals raised or rehabilitated in AZA accredited institutions can be released be released back into their natural habitat through these programs. Such animals could be the black-footed ferrets, California condors, or the golden lion tamarins. That if you do go to the San Antonio Zoo and you walk through, they're the orange little tiny monkeys. And those are just a few different species that have been successfully reintroduced back into the wild. And I do have my sources, which would be the San Antonio Zoo.org and then the azazoo.org or aza.org. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you guys do want to go out to zoos and aquariums. And you can always, if you're unsure if they're AZA accredited or not, you can always look it up online. The San Antonio Zoo definitely is. Some of the major zoos like the Houston Zoo or the Dallas Zoo, those are always some fun favorites, or the New Orleans Zoo. Bye, guys.